Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am on my own. I unfortunately don't have Anne helping me, so this is why the live stream is going out the way that it is, and the whole video will be up on High Vibe shortly. So, just to let you all know, I have done the monthly Oracle Wisdom for July. That is already up. So go and check that out. We did pick a pile. The readings were incredible. It always blows my mind how the cards work and how they put themselves together the way that they do. It really, really blows my mind. So we are going to get started having a look at the energies for the week ahead. We are starting with the Ascending Life Oracle deck, which is Marukh, who, as we all know, I'm a huge fan of. So card number one is playfulness, having more fun in life, not taking life too seriously, enjoying the little things in life, careful not to go overboard. So listen, it's the week of, here in the US, it's the 4th of July. It's time to enjoy. I know that we have to work. The 4th isn't until Friday, I think. But we have to find the joy in life. I realize there's a lot going on just in the world and people are worried about so many things. But we have to find the lighter side of life. It's also a great way to connect with people, especially if there's been distance, if there have been disagreements about how we are moving through life. So this is a great way to sort of get to that place. Okay. So the next card out is the hidden enemies and jealousy, hiding true intentions, being two-faced, time to work in silence. This card has come out a little bit recently, and I think with social media we have this thing where people will stalk other people. And I don't mean stalk in the literal sense of attention to what you're doing. They will go to social media and go and find what it is that you're up to and really make a point of being in your business essentially. So this is why it's important to keep things that you're working on, that you're not ready to be out in the world, or you're not ready to have people sort of come in and tear it down. I mean, we're never ready for that. But these are the things that we have to keep to ourselves so that we can launch things and unveil things in the time and in the way that we are ready for. Pay attention to the people around you in terms of who they are, what their behaviors are as well. And if your gut is telling you to be wary of somebody, just pay attention to that. Next card out is manifestation. Dreams manifest into reality. Your manifestation is close. Getting more out of what you want. Your manifesting power is strong. So one of the monthly readings, there was a lot of talk about manifestation. When you are manifesting, make sure that you are being very clear and concise in what it is you want to manifest. And also make sure that what you're manifesting is actually what you want to come to fruition in this life. And I think part of this is plays into the first two cards. One of it is getting more joy out of life. I think the other part of it is when you're manifesting things, you don't need to tell the world what it is you're working towards. You don't need to tell the world what it is you're doing and how you're planning on getting there, because that is when the naysayers come in and tell you that you can't. And it's not that you can't, it's that they couldn't, or they're jealous that you are and that you're doing all of this. And you don't want that negative talk sitting in the back of your mind, because that will tell you that you can't do something, and that's just not okay. So know that this is out there. The next card, because I had a whole bunch of them that just jumped out, is death. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I love a good death card. Inevitable end, big transformation, shedding required, dead end. So to me, this makes sense that it comes after the manifestation card because often when we're bringing new things in, other things have to end. And sometimes it's relationships that finish up. Sometimes it's a job that we leave because it's creating space for the next thing. Maybe we're moving home and so it's leaving the apartment or the house that we were in. It's the end of something. So the death card, as horrible as it sounds, because I mean the word death we associate with loss, it can be that, but it's not necessarily that in the literal sense. And so often the shedding of what we're releasing is what brings in the new things into our world. The last card that jumped out was the travel card, long distance travel, wanting to escape a new adventure, a journey to the next level. So, with it being 4th of July weekend, some of us are going to be traveling. Some of us are going to be getting in the car and doing short road trips. Some of us are going to be getting on planes, going home to visit loved ones and spend the holiday weekend with them. But again, we're looking at manifestation here. So it could very much be leveling up. And that to me is always super, super exciting. And also just the beginning of a new adventure. And I talked about with the death card that it could also be moving house. So it's, you know, whenever you move, it's a new adventure, it's a new space, it's new energy that we're existing in. Um, so, su- I feel like that's super exciting. I love change. I love when things shift and it just creates, when it does create the new energy, it gives us space to move in a whole new direction. It's refreshing for lack of a better word. So the last card that jumped out just now is isolation, being emotionally removed, choosing to be alone, recharging your mind and body, and introspection. So it's going to be a week of, being around people, especially if you're here in the US. It's a very social week, but make sure if you need time alone, you create that for yourself. It's so often we feel obligated to be around people. We feel obligated to go to events. We feel that we don't have a choice with all of these things. But the reality is we do. And sometimes just taking that time to be on our own is exactly what we need just to recharge the battery and to be able to go out and be our normal charming selves. The other thing is with this manifestation, you're going to need introspection so that you are very, very clear as to what it is you are wanting to achieve in this life. So just know that that is there. I'm just going to pull one more of these. Alien. Feeling alienated in life, feeling like you don't fit in, dealing with a foreigner, new experiences in life. So I think it's the feeling, pardon me, of the unknown, the feeling of being around something that feels foreign. Um, and maybe this is, if you're feeling alienated, maybe this is part of the playfulness that we're being told to step into this week. Sometimes you need to just put yourself out there because often that feeling of alienation can be something that is self-imposed. Um, and again, the last line on this card is new experiences in life. So I think it's about stepping into that more social space, stepping into a space that is more playful, more fun, that will bring more joy into your life. Um, I look at this layout and I feel like it's good. The hidden to me just tells us that we need to be aware of who's around us. Again, we need to be mindful of what we're putting out into the world, especially as we're working on manifesting and shifting things in our life. And also letting go of the things that don't serve us, the death card. And when there are people who are watching our every move, and I always laugh when I know people are watching because I think, I hope you're enjoying the show because I'm living my life and you're only seeing what I allow you to see and what I choose to share. Um, so look away and then I quietly manifest and create things in the background and then bring it out to the public when I'm ready, if I'm ready, if it's something that I want to share. So just be really aware of that. Some things just need to be kept private. Um, and you know, when you are shedding things, when you are going through transformation, people are always very quick to have opinions and thoughts on all of that or feel the need to share their thoughts. And the reality is, if somebody needs an opinion, they'll ask for it. So if you're the person that wants to share the opinion, don't. And if you're the person that is um, on the receiving end of unwanted guidance, advice, unsolicited advice, just nod, sure, great, thank you so much, and move on. In terms of leveling up and travel, I think the level up to me just makes perfect sense coming straight after the death card. Travel in a literal sense because of 4th of July weekend. Just make sure you're recharging. And if you're feeling alienated, if you're feeling like you don't fit in, take a breath. If you need to take that moment in time to sort of isolate and breathe and calm your nervous system down to be able to step back into a more social place, just do that. People are going to be okay with it. And if they're not, that's also fine. So moving on to the Guiding Angels Oracle, we've got walking the path. No matter where you are right now, you are exactly where you need to be for the next best thing to happen. So it's very easy when we think about the timing of things that we want to happen. We think about it in terms of this 3D world and how we want the timeline to be. That's not how this works, unfortunately. It's just not. So just know that the universe has its own timing in mind and you're always in the right place at the right time for the right reason. So you're exactly where you're meant to be because the timing does work, even if in your mind it doesn't, in the universe's it does. Distant future. Even if you can't immediately see the evidence of your desires manifesting, remember that other people's free will choices are involved. And this is why when we're manifesting, we don't tell other people what we're doing. Obviously, if it's something that involves someone or you want to share with your partner, do that, but don't. This is why I don't share with the world when I'm working on things or when I'm working to create something, because other people, their energy and their free will get in the way of what it is I'm doing. Whereas if I keep things to myself and only tell those who absolutely need to know, that's where there is freedom and that is where there is a clear path because nobody else's crap can get in the way. And also, when we manifest, we often want things to appear immediately, and sometimes they do, which is incredible. And it allows us to breathe and just know that the universe has our back. But let me tell you, moving over to the US for me, it was first a conversation back in 2000, I want to say 2005. And it was with an ex, and he talked about how it was going to happen, what we were going to do. And I was all about it. And then that relationship broke up in a really horrible way. And I released the thought of living in the US. And then it was 10 years later that it came back around, and this is when it actually manifested. So there are times where even though we're manifesting something, we think it's not happening, but the universe is quietly working for us. And this is what we have to trust, the divine timing of all of that. Okay, so the next card out is a new dawn. The light is slowly creeping in to bring you positive new changes and a chance to step into your own personal power. So again, we are stepping into it. You have to know that you are on your path and you are leveling up and you are making progress. You are moving forward. You have to acknowledge the light that is there. You have to acknowledge the changes that have happened. Because the other thing, when we're manifesting, you have to also be in a place of gratitude, not a place of lack. If you're trying to manifest and you're coming from a place of lack, that's what you're going to create more of. But when you sit there and you see the small wins that present themselves, back in Australia when I was modeling and I would look at my calendar, and this is back in the day when we carried actual diaries and we had all the notes and everything written in. When I would look ahead and see that the next few weeks were booked solid, I always knew I would work and I would work consistently, but you would often not know until the day before that a job was booked or something like that. But when I would look at the calendar and I would see that there was 2 or 3 weeks where I was booked solid, I would just sit there and go, thank you so much. And when I did that, the jobs would keep coming in. When I would look at the calendar and I only had my sort of regular clients and there wasn't any extra coming in, if I panicked, there would be nothing. So just acknowledge the small wins and acknowledge the growth that you've had and the manifestations that have come to fruition for you, because that will help everything else create that little bit faster. And the last one from this deck is no rush. Put your heart into it, but don't rush. There are valuable lessons along the way that will prepare you for the future. So again, you can't rush the timing of manifestation. You can't rush the divine timing that just exists in the universe. We have to accept the timing as it is. And while I believe there is free will in this world and we get to choose and we get to manifest and we get to create this life, there are certain things that are just, they are what they are, and we have to go with that. So trust the timing, acknowledge the growth and the good things that have already come to fruition, because that will help create or co-create everything that much faster. Okay, and we are going to pull one card from the Keepers of the Light Oracle, which is a Kyle Gray deck. I've just felt this connection to the other side today. And if you watch the monthly July reading, you'll understand, because of the deck that I used for the final card there. Lady Portia, Divine Order. Do what do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. So this is about taking the steps and the actions that you're called to do, that need to take place, and everything is going to unfold as it's meant to. And if there's a lesson along the way, great. Take it with gratitude, learn from it, and continue to move forward. I feel like this is a really exciting week. I know it's a short week for people here in the US. Not so much if you're living in Australia or Europe, but I feel like it's a good week. I feel like there's a lot going on, a lot of social activity, and yet there's growth in your own spiritual sort of thing and personal journey going on in the background. I think we also need to focus very much on how we're manifesting in this world, the steps that we're taking when we're doing that. So be very, very mindful, be very detail orientated in what it is you're trying to create, so that you create exactly what you want and what you need. If you are too vague, the universe will give you what you asked for, but it may not be exactly what you want or what you need. So be very, very, very specific when you're doing that. And trust the timing of the universe. It served you well for this amount of time, and it will serve you well moving forward. Make sure you go check out the July monthly reading. Like I said, those readings were incredible, all very different. It is pick a pile. There's three of them, so you can pick the pile or piles that most resonate with you. And I don't know, for those of you that are high vibers, I'm not sure if we're doing full disclosure this week. I will touch base with David closer to the end of the week and see if he's up to do a remote episode, because we weren't able to do that last week. And I will see you all very soon. And there will be an announcement coming soon about the next episode of Gemini Rising. Happy 4th of July, everyone.